Good evening, YouTube. What's up, guys? Now I know what you're saying. What is going on? There's a video, but no sound is coming out of my mouth right there. The reason is because I forgot to turn on my mic. Whatever. But in this intro, I said this is the beginning of me trying to do daily vlogs. At least for this first week, I'll try my best to see what I can do with that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's begin with the edit. Alright, YouTube, I am back in my house right now. I'm here just going to go ahead and work on some things right now. And as I work on things, I'm going to go ahead and maybe I'm deciding to go ahead and just vlog myself with this GoPro. What I do have, okay, and I'm using the GoPro to vlog right now. You know what? Let me switch the lens real quick. Okay, guys, I know. I messed up on the mic again, and it sucks and it's really frustrating. You know, I put in all this effort and then whatever I talk about doesn't even go on the vlog, and so now I need to do commentary like this. It is a brand new mic, and I'll explain this later on my next vlog on the mic that I got and why I got it. This video I have coming up right now, my developer and I were just talking and texting each other, and he said, Chris, remember you want to put me on your video? And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. And so we decided on the spot, literally out of nowhere, that I'm gonna go ahead and record this conversation. I did it. Now I know there's gonna be a little bit of lag, so please forgive me on that. On his part, there'll be times when it looks like he's not talking, or he is, but you'll still hear him talking. My senior developer is amazing. His name is Brian. I'll put the links in the description below to his social media. He is amazing. He's someone that you can learn a lot from, so check it out if you haven't yet. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know it's a little longer than usual, but hey man, this is valuable content. Enjoy the video. Alright guys, so I was just working up some PHP, and I was talking to Brian while doing my time-lapse on my GoPro, and he reminded me that I promised to actually even interview him, and I wanted to interview him for a while, but you know, things got busy, and now we're here. And so this is Brian. He is my senior developer, self-taught. You never went to college, right? Or did you go to college?
I mean, I know a lot of people who went to college.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, this is my senior developer. How old are you, Brian, by the way?
I'm 26.
He's 26. And how long have you been at our company?
6 years.
And you pretty much built the foundation of everything we work on right now, right? At our company.
For the most part, yeah. There was another system in place before I joined the company.
Yeah. Dang.
And I did extend that for a little while, and then we ended up replacing it.
Wow.
And yeah, so I wrote pretty much the structure of everything that's there now. But I mean, it's based off of something that existed, or the idea of something that existed before that.
Yeah, that's crazy though, because so you did this when you're 20, and now you're 26, and so you've been at the company for a really long time. You know, as someone who I work with, I guess people want to find out: am I a real developer?
Are you a real developer? Yeah. It depends on how you define the term. Because, I mean, there are people like who would say I'm not a real developer because, you know, I'm not doing like embedded code using C++ and like, you know, compiling things and like running profilers all the time and doing like real developer stuff. So I'm not a real developer because I'm using PHP, which to some degree, I think historically like 10, 15 years ago, you could make that dichotomy and it would be true to an extent because they would say like, oh, PHP is just a toy. But I mean, Facebook uses PHP, you know, it's like, you know, not really, you know, you can build giant systems using it and people have done it. So I would say most definitely that's real programming. As far as doing front end, like doing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it's a little bit more iffy and it kind of depends a lot more on who you ask. I would say you're definitely a coder, but whether or not you're a programmer is debatable. If you did a lot of JavaScript, people would definitely say you're probably a programmer. But if you're, you know, not doing as much JavaScript, you're a coder. They might call you a web designer, and so it's debatable. But I would say, given that you've also studied JavaScript and PHP and you're working in that as well, I would say it's very likely. But you're also not like, you know, somebody who's like doing like, you know, algorithms and stuff, but even people doing like lots of back end stuff at like Facebook, often are not going to use crazy algorithms and math all the time. So
that's true.
There you go. So that's my long-winded answer. Basically, it's
intricate answer.
It's mostly yes, but also
no.
iffy.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a question then. For someone who's like our senior developer at our company now, just like what's your story? Like just a 2 to 3 minute summary on like.
I guess basically, and this is what a lot of people, historically speaking, up until more recently, a lot of people have, like that you hear about, have learned programming. Basically, when I was younger, I was around computers, and so I spent a lot of time with them. My dad was doing stuff with computers before I was born, so I had the familiarity. And then probably by the time I think like as far as HTML goes, I was writing HTML probably at like 8 or 9 years old, which sounds impressive on the one hand. On the other hand, you've got to realize, that was just like using like a little image tag and like making things bold, so not as impressive. I would say I didn't start doing actual programming at least till I was at least 11. I started doing CSS 13 or 14, and then I had started doing stuff with this terminal and like shell scripting at that time, and JavaScript.
At that age,
and so
just doing that at that age is like, that's not.
Well, I didn't do a lot. It was mostly, literally, like I say that, it sounds impressive. I was copying and pasting things,
Oh, okay.
How do most people start out? Copy and paste things, right? That's how you
Stack Overflow,
and then over time, you get more used to. Yeah, Stack Overflow didn't used to exist, by the way. It used to be like web forums, and it was a lot more interesting. But it also used to be a lot easier. Like it's way more complex now to just do a front end website than it's one of those things that I think it sounds daunting to some people.
Yeah.
Because they think like, oh, you have to have had started like way back when. And I don't think that's really true, but I think starting earlier just means you had an early start.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think that it's not hard to understand code. I think if you can understand English, you can learn how to program.
So you work remotely. You're out of the country right now. You worked here in California, where I am, and then you went to, where are the two places that you went to? You went to
I moved to California with the company,
and
then I moved back. I actually didn't ever live in Virginia. I lived in Tennessee over at the border because they're next to each other, and so I moved back to Tennessee. So
And then you went from Tennessee to where?
Poland.
Poland. For how long were you in Poland for?
3 months.
3 months, and you're in London now?
Not London, Sheffield.
Cool. Like you get to work remotely from where you are and work from home, and that's nice.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I guess since you're here, some questions is like, do you think that nowadays, how like complex languages are getting, there's like Angular now, there's React, there's Vue.js, and these things didn't exist a couple years ago, and they're here now. Like, do you think that it's still feasible for just people like, even just people like me, or people who are trying to be even just like me or everyone else like you, to start like teaching yourself code now? And is it possible to still get a secure job, or do you think it's harder than ever now to try to get into the field?
I think it's just as easy as it was before, and I think now that there's more and more people who haven't like done college and things that are becoming programmers. It's becoming more acceptable at companies. I think you still have to work a lot to get there, and then you also have to sort of overcome this interview question culture that kind of exists.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I'm sure you've spoken on this. There's like a book like Cracking the Coding or Programming Interview or something, and there's websites that are devoted to it. I'm sure I don't have to touch on it a lot, but so in addition to learning some basic skill, you need to do that. And then I would say after that, once you do get your job, because the big thing is most of the stuff you can learn really rapidly if you use a good learning method. And so
TeamTreehouse.com.
Treehouse is an option. And there's also other other strategic things that you can do, just how you learn things and how you take notes, that helps. But Treehouse is a good option, especially starting out. And so basically, once you get your job, if you can get a job, the biggest thing is no matter what you're working with, you are going to be learning things, especially the first couple weeks of your job. And so even if you don't know everything you needed to know, you can take, the first weekend after you start, or like right after the first night, if you didn't know all the details, from that company, and just go research all the things that they're doing, download, they use Angular, go download, go through, they walk through, just start with it, or, whatever it is, just play with it so that, then you're already familiar with it, like next day you come in and they're like, going to tell you like, oh, we use this thing to access the database. And you're like, oh yeah, I got it. I went through all the docs. You know, I played with it. You know, and so that's that's generally my approach to things. Is, you know, like if I don't know something, you know, it's like Google's right there. That's you know, true. And I think that's a lot of people's approach. So
I remember when I first joined the company, like the API that I worked on, when I created we had it on GitHub, and then I created our own on our actual server, our page. But I remember when I first started, that was just overwhelming to me. When I was making it, I had no idea what I was even talking about, because I still didn't understand what the attributes were, the memos, and you know how. And
that was just more of a front end thing.
Yeah, and it was all front end. But now when I read it, it's very easy for me to understand. So I think I think that factor of the fear of being overwhelmed, that I think it's important to know that it's okay to be overwhelmed, because everything's going to be new when you get into this industry.
Yeah, that's my saying, embrace your inner idiot. You know, if you feel like an idiot, that's a good thing. You know you're learning.
Yeah, that's a good one. yeah, definitely. I think that's the one thing that actually made me like so scared too. It was just, everything was so overwhelming, because when I joined the company, like I was brand new. I barely knew any. I was surprised that they even hired me. I'm like, what the? Okay, they hired me.
Well, that was on purpose, because because that means we can mold you in our image, and we don't have to deal with, you know, years of corporate abuse that, you know, turned you into a mediocre developer. So
definitely. Well, I am thankful, because like even just working under you, or even like working with Vinny, he's in Brazil now, but like just like you guys are always so understanding, and you help me a lot whenever I needed to. And I think one thing I lacked in is asking help, and that's the one thing I still, even to this day, like I don't always.
Yeah, it's a lot of people struggle with that, asking for help. And then, I mean, usually before I ask for help, I usually go and look things up and stuff. But just right now, my position at the company, like I really, there's not people I can ask for help for the most part.
Yeah.
So, which is annoying, because, well, there's like two factors of it. Because the one is that, well, who do I ask for help if I can't find the information online, and I end up having to like read through a manual, because some of the stuff that I'm working with is like there's not a Stack Overflow question relating to it. I have to go and look at the manual and see like what's possible and find a way to work through it.
The cons, I guess, for being the senior developer is that everyone goes to you for everything.
Yeah, true.
You get paid the most, but you also have to deal with that.
True.
I guess like for someone like being in your experience too, then for someone to try to get a job today, what do you think are the most important things? Let's say like 3 or maybe 5 things. The 5 things that they need to learn today to like get into the field.
I think it depends on what area of the field they want to get into. For like web development specifically, obviously they need their front end basics down.
Yeah.
And you really need to have your basics. And I would say if you have like, you know, you can create some test page of like, you know, look at these, you know, cute puppies that I found on the internet, and like, you know, just to showcase your skills. You probably don't have a portfolio yet, unless you know you've already made some things for people. Like that's what I did, was go through and, you know, found churches and like nonprofits that was like, hey, I can like make you a nice website. And there's still definitely opportunities for that. You just have to be looking for it. And you can also find like, you know, like maybe there's I don't know, some food truck or something that you like eat at that's like tiny and doesn't have a website. Yeah. You like put up a website for them to get them on Google Maps or something. And put that. So
number one, make the portfolio. That's the first thing to get a job anywhere now.
I think to some degree, you can get a job without it. But you're just going to have to up your talking game. You know, basically say, well, look, you know, I know this stuff. I can, you know, I can do it, and you know, stuff like that. So.
That's cool. What languages do you think, like for 2018? Like I know you're looking at a lot of things even far in the future, and what the future is going to look like right now. But I guess for this coming year, what languages do you think that people need to focus on? So you like the basic markup languages is a basic. HTML, CSS, everyone needs to know. That's the basics. JavaScript is like, you know, if you don't know JavaScript.
I think deep JavaScript knowledge is going to be a thing. I mean, for the next. I mean, I don't know how long, because it's just becoming more and more ingrained in how we operate.
Because of all the new frameworks that are coming out?
Well, I'm saying like that, but also like, you know, learning like web workers, like, you know, all the different like browser APIs that are there, like the document storage, but also that extends because you can cross-apply all those things back into like, say, Node.js and other ways of running JavaScript on the back end. And of course, there's like serverless solutions now, like AWS Lambda, Google Cloud Functions. Yeah. I would say moving past cloud, serverless architecture is probably where a lot of things are going. So all of those things, the combining thread is that all of them support JavaScript on the back end, and JavaScript seems to be the main gig as far as language. There's some other things you can do depending on the platform, but yeah. So I would say, I mean, really the basics are the most important. As far as other stuff, you obviously need to know templating stuff, like something like Angular,
Angular.
And
Why do you think Angular is so big now? Like Angular, I feel like
Angular is just popular because it's easy to use and it's easy to get started, and it's very easy to get, like, especially basic things up very quickly. So the things that should be easy are very easy to accomplish in Angular. With Angular, you kind of sidestep the whole, like, I'm going to render stuff on the server, and then take what I rendered on the server, like we use Mustache templates, and you're not doing that anymore. And you're using the front end, which complicates things slightly because that means you have to have APIs to get all your data from your back end, and so you have to have an API. And whereas, although there might be a few ways to work around it, but in general, you have to have an API. So it adds a slight amount of complexity to things that you need to talk to some server behind the scenes.
And so Angular just takes care of all of that.
Well, I mean, there's solutions that do that.
Do you have any like last words you want to say for this? I'm assuming this video will get at least 3,000 to 5,000 views down the line.
Well, I would say for anybody who's like considering becoming some type of a developer, getting into this, is just to actually get started. I would say Treehouse is a great place. One that I use also,
Treehouse,
which is the other one that I like to use is Code Academy. Just the free lessons that are on there, just because it gets you in, where you kind of are doing things as an exercise. And of course, Treehouse says some of that too. Definitely. And then I guess the third thing, and this would be the biggest thing, is actually get it like on your computer, or like do something where you're putting something somewhere. Don't just keep it as like a theory in your head, but actually just do it. And usually that just involves like reading the thing and it says like do this, and you're like, what the heck does it mean? Does it do this? And it's literally, usually it's just like do this. When I started, it was all like, oh hey, open up Notepad and write things in Notepad. And I actually recommend, I mean, if you're doing HTML, like if you're on Windows, Notepad is just actually works okay. Like open up and like save some HTML files and like pull up on your computer and realize that you actually can just run it right on your computer. That's a big step, I think. So there you go.
Definitely. Dang. Well, thanks a lot, Brian. I know it's like super late for you, but thank you for even taking the time to meet with me. But yeah, you don't have any social media, right?
I do and I don't. I mean, I'm trying to think. I have a Twitter.
Oh yeah, can you just message to me and I'll put it in the link in the description if you want any.
Yeah, and I have a GitHub, which
GitHub, yes.
It's just kind of split up into two places, but I'll just
just send it to me. I'll make sure to put in a link in the description and people could follow you there.
Yeah, check it out. And that's pretty much, I mean, as far as it goes. And I have a personal website, but that's linked on GitHub. Yeah,
so. I remember your website. But
plus, there's nothing there but a contact form. So
yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, well, thanks, Brian. Let me go ahead and end this right now. All right, well, that was my senior developer, Brian. But yeah, he's been coding since he was like 13, 14. He's an insane programmer. He literally just breeds code. He loves code, and I've learned so much from him. And I'm just thankful that I got to join this company and to be where I am now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. So I'm gonna go ahead, head to Denny's, edit this video. But one thing I do want to talk about is really, this is for all the self-taught developers right now out there trying to learn. I just hope that this video encourages you even that much more. I mean, going to college can really help you get it in the industry a lot easier, but really, you don't have to do it. It's just going to be harder. You have to put in more effort. You have to show more hustle. You have to work more than those who went to college just to get in the industry. But there's a way if you're willing. More and more, now more than ever, companies are willing to hire self-taught developers because it's needed. And it's not about just a degree anymore. It's about what can you do with code. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna show this in the video, but from what Brian said, it's really, you have to learn the basic markup languages, JavaScript, but not just this. You have to be really good in JavaScript because it seems like not just front end, but even back end, and even just the cloud, how everything is going through cloud now. Like everything is the heavy based JavaScript, and to get in this industry, you have to be good at JavaScript. Meaning, yes, no JavaScript. Now even learn frameworks like maybe Angular, if not React. Vue.js is popular, but not as popular as React or Angular, and that's really the way to go. And now, even more than before, just the same, you could still get a job in the industry without a degree. It's just how bad do you want it, how hard are you willing to work, or you can let your own thinking get to you to stop you from getting there, or are you going to really hustle and work hard to make sure that you can become what you want to become. If you want to change your life, work and do whatever it takes to get there, So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here. If you haven't yet, please like this video. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Leave a comment below on anything you want to ask my senior developer later on, and I'll answer another video. If not, man, guys, thank you for watching. This is Krishan. This is Life of a Web Developer, and I'm out. Peace.